Breaking news: major changes in the renal diet. One of the largest studies ever on the renal diet has just turned everything we thought we knew upside down. Foods that were once banned are now proven healthy, while some everyday staples could be harming your kidneys without you realizing it. For the first time, we have clear evidence about which foods you should eat and which ones you should avoid. So, grab a notepad, because this is huge. I'll be covering tons of foods, and in the video description, you'll find a clickable list to jump straight to the foods you're curious about. Plus, I'll break down who should eat each food and who should avoid it. Have you been wondering, can I eat bananas with CKD? Should I cut out bread, or is brown rice safe? Get ready for definitive answers, and prepare to have your entire understanding of the renal diet shaken. Frozen fruits and vegetables, healthy or harmful? Some people assume fresh produce is always better because frozen foods are processed. But is that really true? Actually, no. Research confirms that frozen fruits and vegetables are just as healthy, if not healthier, than fresh ones. Here's why. Frozen produce is picked and processed within hours, locking in nutrients and antioxidants. Fresh produce from the grocery store often ripens during long transport and shipping containers, not on the plant. Because of this, frozen fruits and vegetables can sometimes contain even more nutrients than their fresh counterparts. This doesn't mean you should avoid fresh produce, but it does mean you can keep frozen berries, fruits, and veggies on hand as a nutritious, convenient option. Canned fruits, healthy or harmful? Next, let's talk about canned fruits like peaches, pineapples, pears, and olives. Many believe canned fruits are unhealthy because they're processed, but is that true? Not at all. Research confirms that canned fruit is just as healthy as fresh fruit, despite what many influencers might say. However, there are two key things to remember. Watch your portions if you have diabetes or need to lose weight, as it's easier to overeat canned fruit, and always choose fruit packed in water instead of sugary syrup. The study also confirms that fresh fruits like apples, pears, peaches, nectarines, and plums are great for kidney health, with a strong emphasis on melons, including cantaloupe, watermelon, and honeydew. Whether fresh or blended in smoothies, melons seem to be a top choice for CKD patients. If you found this useful, share this with anyone managing kidney disease, because nothing says I care about you like sending them a video about kidneys and melons. You might be wondering, why should we trust this new study? There are a few key reasons. First, it was published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases, a highly authoritative source. Second, this study followed 2,538 CKD patients for up to 12 years, which is longer than most TV shows. Tracking such a large group over such a long period makes the results very reliable. In fact, some of the findings from this study could shape future CKD management guidelines. Now, let's talk about refined grains, like pasta, white bread, white rice, tortilla chips, and other similar products. The study classifies these as unhealthy, but there's more nuance to consider. The researchers divided foods into three categories: healthy plant-based foods, unhealthy plant-based foods, and animal-based foods. They tracked how often people consume these foods and compared that data to the rates of fast progression to renal failure, mortality, and conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease. They found that people who ate refined grains like pasta and white bread regularly had a higher risk of developing diabetes. This is why the study labeled them as unhealthy plant-based foods. However, the classification lacks some nuance, as it's important to consider portion sizes and overall diet when interpreting these results. White rice, is it unhealthy? Now, let's talk about white rice. According to the study, a food is considered unhealthy if it can contribute to weight gain, which in turn increases the risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular issues. But what if someone is underweight? Is white rice still a problem for them? Actually, white rice is a great source of clean calories for those who need them, especially for CKD patients who have trouble hitting their calorie targets without overdoing it on protein. It's an important consideration, as white rice contains less protein per 100 kilocalories than other staples like pasta or bread. So, for those who need to gain weight or maintain their calorie intake, white rice can be a helpful food. Would I recommend cutting out white rice for someone who's underweight just because the study labels it as unhealthy? Absolutely not. Nutrition isn't black and white, especially when it comes to CKD. It's important to look beyond the broad data and tailor the diet to each individual's unique needs. If you're interested in a personalized diet based on modern medical literature, I'm now offering consultations to help create practical, tailored plans for CKD patients. Brown rice, healthy or not? Many people assume that if white rice isn't ideal for most CKD patients, then brown rice, which is higher in potassium and phosphorus, must be even worse. But that's not true. In fact, brown rice is healthy. According to this study, and many others, whole grains are incredibly beneficial. They should be a primary source of daily calories. So, don't just stop at brown rice, add bulgur, farro, barley, buckwheat, amaranth, and other whole grains to your diet. They're packed with fiber, nutrients, and health benefits. Even if you have diabetes or are overweight, whole grains remain a healthy choice. If blood sugar control is a concern, opt for minimally processed whole grains. I recommend whole grains to all my patients, and none have struggled with weight loss while following my low-protein, plant-based diet. In fact, the real culprits behind weight gain are fast food, sugary drinks, and processed junk, not whole grains. Now, let's discuss a food you should actually watch out for if weight loss is your goal: bread. Can CKD patients eat it? So, what about bread? The answer is yes. Bread can be healthy. Many people expect me to ban bread entirely, but I actually encourage my patients to enjoy sandwiches, as long as they choose the right kind of bread. However, not all bread is created equal. You know those super fluffy loaves that stay soft for 2 weeks and smell like a science experiment? Avoid them. If the ingredients list includes things like barley malt, maltodextrin, cane juice crystals, muscovado, or turbinado sugar, steer clear. These are just fancy names for added sugars, and they don't belong in your diet. Instead, opt for whole wheat bread, preferably the less processed kind. It's beneficial, even for diabetics, when eaten in moderation. Of course, eating 2 pounds of bread a day isn't the way to go, but including it wisely in your diet can be a healthy choice. Meat, dairy, and eggs, are they safe for CKD patients? Let's address a common question. My doctor told me I can eat small portions of meat every day. Is that true? The answer is no. If your GFR is below 60, no amount of meat is truly safe. This applies to red meat, poultry, fish, eggs, milk, and other dairy products. The study we're discussing today confirms that meat consumption is linked to worse diabetes, higher blood pressure, increased cardiovascular risk, and, most importantly, faster CKD progression. Honestly, we don't even need more studies to prove this. Science has been clear about it for a long time. Yet, some doctors still recommend lean meats to CKD patients. Curious about why, I decided to ask one of them directly. I expected a response like, because bacon is delicious. But instead, I got a handwritten note that looked completely unreadable. If anyone can decipher what it says, let me know. But enough jokes, let's move on to another controversial topic: bananas and other high potassium foods, safe or not. Bananas, tomatoes, avocados, oranges, and spinach, these foods have long been a source of confusion for CKD patients. Should you avoid them? Well, according to the study, they're actually healthy. So, does this mean CKD patients are finally free to enjoy spinach and beets without worry? Well, not exactly. I've never outright banned these foods from my patients' diets. However, if your potassium levels are dangerously high, we need to have a conversation before you go wild on oranges and coconuts. In many cases, high potassium levels are not caused by food alone. Often, the real issue is something else, for example, a medication like losartan. So, if you've been avoiding bananas but still have high potassium, the problem might not be your diet, it might be something else entirely. Dried fruits, are they safe for CKD patients? Are dried fruits okay to eat if you have chronic kidney disease? Unfortunately, no, they are not, and here's why. While many high-potassium fruits and vegetables have been removed from the restricted list for CKD patients, there are still some exceptions. The reason? Even though the effect of dietary potassium on serum potassium was vastly overestimated, eating potassium-rich fruits still raises your potassium levels a little. That's fine if you're eating fresh bananas or avocados because those fruits are packed with vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds that benefit your health. But do you know what fruit contains 5 times the potassium of a banana, without the same nutritional benefits? Dried apricots, raisins, and prunes. When these fruits dry out, they lose a significant amount of their nutrients, but not their potassium. So, you end up getting tons of potassium with minimal health benefits. Not a great trade-off. Potatoes, good or bad for CKD? This next topic is going to be controversial. Are potatoes good or bad? According to the large study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases, potatoes are not good for kidney patients. But hold on, I don't completely agree with that. You see, in this study, the researchers grouped all potato-based foods together, treating French fries, tater tots, and potato chips the same as boiled potatoes. That's like calling your pet goldfish a shark just because they both swim. Boiled potatoes do not deserve to be in the same category as unhealthy, processed junk food. Interestingly, the same study listed sweet potatoes and yams as healthy, but what's the real difference? Sweet potatoes and yams, are they healthier? Sweet potatoes have a little less potassium than regular potatoes, and yams have slightly fewer vitamins and nutrients. But are they inherently healthier? Not really. The real reason sweet potatoes and yams made it onto the healthy list is that people don't usually deep fry them and smother them in cheese at midnight. So, it's not really the potato, it's how you cook it. If you bake, boil, or roast regular potatoes in a healthy way, they can still be a nutritious part of your diet. Nuts and nut butters, healthy but in moderation. One interesting addition to the healthy list in this study was nuts and nut butters, including peanut butter. However, while you can eat most vegetables freely, I always recommend moderation with peanut butter and similar spreads. These foods are extremely calorie-dense and high in protein, so you need to make sure they fit within your daily protein and calorie targets.